Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Diversity
And equity and
in
equity.
Education. I am not getting ready to do this today with the co-host. I am not today, you all. She has come on razzle bedazzled and full of naked tendencies, and she's shifting that screen to a place to where it look like she don't have no clothes.
No,
So
that's
we have had that discussion before where you have to be careful with the attire because you could look like you're naked.
no. I think what it is also too. I know Bianca, our fabulous, fantastic, hosted by Teaching for the Culture. She also muted me at first, so I couldn't even say anything. But I'm like this. I'm trying. My chair, everything is just going on. So, but you know what, everybody, we are alive, we blessed, and God is good. We just here, because we life is rough and short. So let's just be happy about that. So good evening, everybody, and welcome again. We're Diversity, Equity, and Education, hosted by the fabulous Bianca Goolsby of Teaching for the Culture. And April, how was your past week?
My past week was filled with anticipation to reach the time of 4:45 Eastern Standard Time in Tampa, Florida. Correction, Cessna, Florida, located at 9325 Governors. Yeah, that part. Because I just wanted to bring the closure that my mind and body needed, so much so to where when 4:45 came, I just dropped everything. If it wasn't in my bag, it wasn't going in my bag. If it wasn't graded before then, it was not going to be graded. And
Correct.
at that point, I just said, I'm out.
I absolutely understand. This has been the longest week prior to the break. For some strange reason, weeks, the week before an actual break just seems to drag on. I mean, I felt like we had done 12 days worth of work. And when I looked at the calendar, it was just Tuesday. I was like, for real? Why is it taking so long just to get to Wednesday, just to get to Thursday? And then finally, when Friday came, that too dragged on as well. So, but a lot of things that happened in the middle of the week. We had a great American teacher. And I saw from the post that you had an excellent session with that. So tell me, from your perspective, since this was the first time that we've ever experienced it virtually, how was it on your end?
I actually feel that there should be no more limitations or excuses as it relates to the availability from organizations, from all the way down from our mayor's office to our um, Heartline drivers,
Right.
buses, being available to be able to present to the youth in our community that may have us interest in the occupation, the career, the whatever it is that's reference to their level of interest. So my experience virtually, I know I had to straighten out some children really quick, very loudly. Okay, I'm back. So I feel that the city of Tampa did a phenomenal job. Janelle McGregor, and I'm not going to even try to botch up her title, but she works for the mayor, the city of Tampa, the mayor's office, and they created a very diverse group of presenters that did a variations of things in the city of Tampa. It reminded me of going through my experience when I did the Mayor Neighborhood University. All
Mhm.
those departments were leaders from those particular um, genres of the city, and they just basically, picked a topic that was interesting to the children or interesting enough they thought. Now, what I do know that those individuals experience, real world, that teaching ain't easy. Oh yeah, they experienced that. The first session, was that make or break you because you don't know how the kids are going to interact. Are they going to turn their mic? Like the kids had free range of their microphones and the chat. Now you figure that thing out. It was chaotic. My
Yep.
students was dying laughing. It was. It was so much going on in the chat that it was crazy, but it was clean information. But when they told the kids, well, we're going to be respectful and not post anything in the chat, I said, here we go. That just made them all chat. When they realized they could chat, they chat about anything. Bruh, man, did you see that? Are you on
Right,
Fortnite? What's your girl? It just went
right.
on and on.
Right, right. No, I will totally agree with you. And there should be no limitations whatsoever when for people to say, "Oh, I can't come for Great American Teacher." It's on Zoom. I mean, and to me, I think going forward, this what they should do. If you stick with it, one thing that I could truly say that came out of 2020 that was a plus. This was truly a plus because now you can't even come with an excuse and say, "I don't want to volunteer. I can't try it." Whatever it's available. And then what I really enjoyed too was that there was some pre-recorded ones. So if you didn't have, like, for example, if your class time didn't sync up with the actual live Zoom, there were pre-recorded ones as well. So you could have gone on there and actually, like the one about the snakes. That of course, everybody wanted to see that one, the one with the snakes. And there was other ones with that when they had a canine for the police department. I mean, it was just great to see that it was truly so diverse, and the fact that you can't tell us that you can't do the Great American Teacher now. I mean, anybody could try and do it, even a pre-recorded one. Now people could truly say, listen, you might not want to let me in your restaurant, but how about you do a little quick walkthrough with your restaurant and tell people how you started your business and things like that. Record it, and then let's play it on the Great American Teacher. So I wanted to start off focusing on that too, because I think that it was highly successful. I think it had some glitches in the beginning. For us, we had the
Mhm.
glitches. We did have the glitches in the beginning, and I think also to my internet speed that day also wasn't going that great. But once it got kicked off, we did pretty well. We did pretty well.
And that's with anything. Keep in mind that we had thousands of kids that were trying to navigate on. Again, it's really not our glitches in many instances. It's Zoom. Zoom is not prepared for that magnitude of people coming on at once, trying to get onto these same spaces. But I was going to say something. What was it? Oh, being that we have demonstrated the impact and the level of the magnitude of the widespread of the children that we can expose to the variations of careers. This should not be an isolated event. This should be something that's ongoing. This should be the opportunity for teachers to be able to connect it back to math, to real world. Hey, Publix, you got a chef that's doing a cake. Let's talk about the surface area of the cake that needs to be covered. Like that could be a whole learning experience. The reading, like it really just made my heart smile to see that the city of Tampa truly, and other individuals, but I know that their organization stepped up big time with the
Mhm.
number of students that they reach. So I do applaud them greatly for being intentional about the impact that they wanted to make and be expose children to the types of careers that are available in here in the city of Tampa. So I greatly appreciate Mayor James Castor's office for that.
And also along that same line, you're talking about what about the mentorship programs? There's a lot of people, a lot of big organizations, sororities, fraternities, stuff like that. They can't say that I'm hindered by anything either, because it's like, wait a minute, you could do a weekly mentorship program on Zoom. You can truly do it. You can record things if you want to and put it into the classrooms, or have a special session for 30 minutes during lunchtime when you're gonna be able to have the kids available because they're sitting eating lunch, and you could do a whole little session with them. So to me, there are so many avenues that this particular platform has just opened itself up to. So I just, that was just great. I think that, like I said, the one takeaway from 2020 has been a rough year. But the one takeaway you could truly say is this was great. What they did with this Great American Teacher, awesome job. So I give kudos and shout outs for everybody. Which leads us into now Thanksgiving week. Whew, let me tell you something. Especially for those of us that e-learning, you can still get your work done. You're still e-learning. You can still get your work done. I mean, I sent off lots and lots of letters this past week explaining to parents that, use this time, just because Thanksgiving is really only one day, but you still got all them other days in the week that kids can catch up. They can catch up. especially once I sent all these letters out, and our principal's a little bit, adamant about the fact that, listen, you're taking up space in the school. If you don't want to, participate, there's places for you to go. So please use the time to catch up with your work. A lot of the assignments that the kids have are very simple. They maybe just missing one or two little things, but it's really one or two things starts to pile up over 5 or 6 weeks. So it's really important that they do that. I mean, I don't know on your end, how are your kids doing? I mean, I don't think did you all do a conference night? You haven't done a conference night for second quarter, have you? Okay. So how are they doing?
Well, we did virtual conference nights this past Thursday, and I am so disheartened by the fact that only two parents out of my 100 plus even bother.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's truly a damn shame. It really
Mhm.
is, because they using these phones for everything else, all this foolishness, but we're not taking the opportunity to take 5 minutes out of your day on a Zoom. Y'all watching lives, you watching Instagrams, you watching fights, you're ticking talking, but we can't take 5 minutes out of our time to be intentional about learning if our child is demonstrating academic growth, or are they stagnated? Do they need support? Should they be signed up for tutoring? Are they at risk for failure or retention? Like, what we doing?
Right.
And I
Right.
always be the one to say we can't worry about parents. Well, at this moment, at the rate that homeschooling, we doing a botched up job of homeschooling slash pandemic teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So parents, you got to be involved. There's no excuse. Right now, should be not one single parent that have not had some type of communication with their child or their children's teachers with the S.
Plural.
Because even in elementary, no child has one teacher. It just doesn't exist anymore. Even in pre-K, they have a teacher and aides and all that stuff. So I just don't know what the problem is. But
Mm-hmm.
I do know that the negative impact and who's going to be burdened with it in the future is going to be the children. And again, our children already have so much stacked up against them already. They don't need nothing else. Do
Right.
your parts, parents. Get off the phones with the foolishness. Take a moment and take interest in your child. You can send messages on Canvas every day, not every day, every day if you
Every
want to.
day.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There is no limit to how many messages you can send in an email on
And,
Canvas.
and I'm
Do your
so glad you
part.
said that. I'm so glad you said that because things are connected. So when they say, "Well, I don't know how to get that," but if as long as you ever gave us your email address, a phone number, something, I can connect to you through Remind, through Canvas. I can connect to you through Edsby. You just got to check your stuff. So it's like, sometimes I'm wondering. I'm like, wait, do you know how many messages I've sent you? So maybe you should just check your email. Just check it. It's in there. I guarantee you the stuff is in there. And truly, you have to work with us. This is not going to be the same. And now, like I said, I was speaking to some friends of mine in different districts, in different areas, who are saying that their principal already told them, "Hey, look, pack your stuff. After Thanksgiving, we may not come back here because of the fact that the numbers are going up. COVID numbers are going up." So it's like, what's the point? Get all your stuff, get your laptop, take all your stuff home, because guess what? When these kids get to traveling, and they go around all their relatives and all that, because I don't know
Well,
about the rest of y'all, but I've been on the book and I've seen people from Thailand to
it's not the
Hawaii,
children.
people in Philadelphia, people all over the United States and all around the world right now. I'm like, y'all on Thanksgiving break, bringing this from every country back into this country. So let's just be real. Let's just
And
be
that's what I
real.
was getting ready to say. We don't see the children with these adults. These are straight up adults. Like
Yep.
the number of gatherings that I have seen in the last 72 hours since Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And the question becomes, what outcome do we expect from this? Because it can't be a good one. Because if you're believing in that, then you're delusional about a lot of things. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of things.
And
Because
especially with
COVID is real.
yes, it
It's
is.
real. I hope we realize now it is real. The body bags, the families that have buried their family members, they can attest to it being real. If you are a person that knows not one person that was impacted by COVID, you, my friend, are the anomaly in this world right now. I feel
Correct.
that it's almost impossible to say that you know no one or don't know of anyone, and we don't mean like the celebrities and people that are far from being within your true touch to say that you could have come in contact with them. We mean grandma and them, auntie and them,
Correct.
co-workers, a friend of a friend. We meaning people that you could easily come into contact with. So
Correct.
if you can say that, thank God you can. But the majority cannot. They
No.
cannot.
No, because we've come across, teachers, of course, people in the church, people in just the community, people. So, and being that human beings are social creatures, and so the biggest problem that we have is that we're yes, we are social creatures, but we're not trying to adhere to also the regulations. Okay, put the mask on. I mean, if you got to run to the store and come back, do it. I mean, I actually was in the post office, and this guy was having a full out argument with people in the line saying why he don't care about wearing no mask. And then let me tell you how slow the justification was. He even said people in my family died, so what? I'm like, what? How ignorant are you? So that means you probably are walking around carrier, and you just spitting and carrying on with everybody else in the line. I just got my stuff and left. I said I can mail this package another day. Because first of all, I just can't be around that level of ignorance. I just can't. I said everybody around you is has a mask on. They're standing 6 feet apart and they're trying to be respectful of each other. Why are you coming in there acting crazy and getting mad and crazy? And then on top of that, when people are offering you the mask, just take it. They offered it to you. Now you got a free one. Why are you tripping? I I don't know. I can't understand it. I just can't understand.
I digress. Like at some point, it's just like pick your battles. And at that one right there, like you said, the level of ignorance, you can't win it. And I have no problem with individuals saying their freedom of choice to not want to wear the mask. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But make sure that you have that some type of barrier that's going to
Mm-hmm.
prevent you from sharing your bodily fluids or
Right.
airspace with individuals that do want to protect themselves. We're not saying
Mm-hmm.
that you have to, but put a barrier to prevent you from exposing others. That's the real conversation in all of it. Because I really could care less. I mean, you can't change people's thought process, their mindset, but I don't want what you have, ma'ams and
Right.
sirs. That's it.
Right.
That's all.
Exactly. Exactly. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So here now this week our conversation that we've been having, or the discussions we've been having about a true disconnect between what's happening in our society and what is happening in education, where we're not seeing that people understand that education, it ties to a lot of things in the society. So look at it from this perspective. If you can look at somebody's education and see that they become a doctor, they become a lawyer, they have become a physicist, they become whatever is title that they have in society. Don't you think that the person's lack of education would then allow them to become a criminal, a thief, whatever title, commit fraud, steal people's credit cards, do breaking and entering, whatever. It's like it's just like beating a dead horse, but it's like being able to explain to people how education is directly tied towards the outcome of what you want people to have and be in society. This leads us over to what we've been talking about for the longest while, which school to prison pipeline, and the fact that there are actual people in law enforcement that don't believe that it exists. That, and also the fact that, wait a minute, wasn't one county this particular week using the data from schools to actually make predictions as to which children will be then placed in prison, lock them up, and using it to chart a path directly into the prison system. Now, I don't think it could be any clearer than that. I don't think, because we all know that most prisons are for profit. We don't want to pay somebody a salary to do what we need to do. We could just put them in prison and we get everything that we want done. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, after hearing um, someone in law enforcement make a statement about what I'm going to now assume that they misunderstood the question after getting some They misunderstood the question. We'll put it at that. But let me go back to make some clarity on what school to prison pipeline is, because this is the misconception that I had an aha moment with after getting some feedback from someone in law enforcement indicating that that's not what they meant. So when we reference school to prison pipeline, we are not saying, this is the misconception, that the reason why so many children are being funneled into the school to prison pipeline is because they're being arrested on campus. That's not what school to prison pipeline is. That's a misconception. Listen and hear us out. The school to prison pipeline occurs when the students are being suspended disproportionately out of school, or they're being placed, put it this way, they're not in a classroom where they should be receiving direct instruction. Anytime a child is not receiving instruction, that means that they are not getting the knowledge that they're needing in order to progress academically, and then also progress in their overall adult life, in order to be able to say, I can read and I can comprehend, I can add, I can pay my own bills, whatever it may be, just to give you all some sort of example. The disproportionate number of students that are being suspended are Black children, boys, to be direct. That is a fact. It's not an opinion. It's not a we're making it about race. It's racial. It is. That's just what it is. And the discriminatory processes that are in place, whether it be intentional or unintentional, is happening. Period. That's a fact. So the school to prison pipeline, the direct correlation is because the children are being suspended disproportionately, which means they're not in front of the teacher in order to get what they need academically. So therefore, that's a direct funnel into the school to prison pipeline. Because with adults, when you don't have what you need to survive, the only thing in most cases you do is go and take it. You do things, you commit criminal activity because you don't have what you need. That's just the reality of it. So that's what is meant by school to prison pipeline. Even though Hillsborough County still does have a high number of arrests that happens on school campuses, and there a lot of them are direct file to become, as direct file. Forget it, y'all get what I'm trying to say. I'm done.
Right.
But that's school to prison pipeline. We're not saying all the kids are being arrested at school and that's how they get in school to prison pipeline. We never said that. Never. We're talking about the number of suspensions and so on and so forth, and how they correlate with the traits that funnel into, that is a direct connection to school to prison pipeline. Go ahead, Didi, I'm rambling.
No, you're right, but it also it ties into race, because there's some kids. For example, can you look at the child who's not Black, who may have been chewing gum in the classroom, and then a Black child who was chewing gum in the classroom. Well, you ask both of them to spit it out. One does, and the other one does not. Now it becomes an argument. Now the teacher want to write them up. That okay? It's just that de-escalate the situation, but it occurs more times than often to children of color, and but again, that's the bias too. So, like I said, you have to look at the biases of the teacher, the biases of the of just the system itself. Because why is it that some kids are energetic. That's the one thing. If I have to sit down and write a referral for every single cockamamie crazy thing the kids do, I'd be writing thousands of referrals a day. I mean, yeah, they're gonna talk. Yeah, they're gonna snap off from time to time. I have remember, I'm dealing with some girls who are so disrespectful, but they just didn't know how to talk to people. When I hear how their parents talk to them, well, guess what? It makes sense. That's how you talk to people. You don't know no better because she don't know no better. So, but if I was just the type of person that said every time they said something horrible, I'd be offended. I'd be writing referrals all day. Now here it is. I made a chart this long on a child, and now the child's getting processed into the system, as opposed to, okay, we need to sit down and discuss, to teach this child how to communicate with people, how to talk about things, how to just express themselves in a positive manner.
But then you have teachers who are not even going to try to understand what's going on with this child. And immediately they just start writing referral after referral after referral after referral. And next thing you know, they call in the resource office, come get this child out this room, this child acting this way. And it builds up a bunch of cases against the child, which could have been handled in a much better way. So there's the disproportionate that we see all the time.
And keeping in mind that we represent the minority. And that's the key. Like, how can we represent the majority in the number of students that's being suspended disproportionately, but we represent only 21% in our district?
Correct.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. And if it takes, I don't know how you don't understand, like how people don't understand that. I really don't. But we have never said the reason why Hillsborough County Public Schools lead the school to prison pipeline is because TPD and HCSO is going and arresting kids at school. We never said that, and that's not what school to prison pipeline is.
Right.
So we hope that brought clarity.
Right. But also understand something. If you look at the United States in general and compare the United States to the world population, the United States arrests more people. We have more people locked up in jail than any other countries around the world. So, and the United States is a small, young country. When you look at all the other countries, the United States itself is disproportionate in terms of how many people we've been locking up, and people of color, and people. And so, and wait a minute, if we're supposed to be in the minority in the United States, we're 12% of the whole population. That's people of color now, okay? I'm not talking about, let's talk about black people, because people of color is a larger number. But black people as a population, we're the smallest amount of our population in the country. But look at the jails. 75% of the jails filled with black people. Wait a minute. If you don't think that's systemic, that's a systemic problem. And it leads right into, for example, look what's going on right now. We're going to try to invalidate votes from the largest black districts in Georgia. But why? Why would you invalidate those votes? Because it's systemic. Again, black people don't have validity. Black people aren't important. Black people, why would we let them vote? Why? Because they actually now they shift what the outcome of the vote is going to be. I mean, if y'all not seeing a systemic thing, I don't know what. April, are you able to see comments? Because I can't shift off my thing on my phone right now.
Yes. Sonia, hello, how are you?
Hey.
Regina, Unique, if you're still there. Sonia just responding, like, say it louder for the people in the back, just chatting with us. We have Gilmore. She's saying, with COVID, do teachers have sympathy? Well, Alexandra, what we know, as for Denise and I, we have sympathy. We never try to speak collectively for all teachers.
Yeah.
We can't speak for the ones that's in our general circles. So we have sympathy and empathy as well, because we go above and beyond outside of our classrooms to make sure that our children's needs are being met. So what do some of them not? That goes without saying with anything. There's going to be some people that do with certain things, and there's some people that don't. Yeah.
Right. And it's just like making a statement. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, babe.
No, it's just like making a statement that said all men are dogs. Wait a minute, I can't say that because I think my father's a good man. So when you make a generalized statement, we can't validate a generalized statement. It's like mathematics. You got to prove it. So we can't generalize a statement like that, because there are some teachers, let's be real, there are some even white teachers who do not fall into the category of being so biased towards the children. So I would never try to make a generalized statement because we can't prove it. Go ahead.
And there are some black teachers too that fall in that category. So again, we don't do that so much. Daquan Wilson says, y'all preaching tonight. Some teachers forget that we sometimes have to teach more than content. We can't teach content without building a relationship, and relationships have nothing to do with content. So that's a whole nother conversation. We feel that we have loads of teachers who are white supremacists. Of course, we got that goes without saying with anything. We are the minority. Let's just be honest. We live in Florida.
Right.
Come on. We're in the South. That goes without saying.
You can just check the Instagram page.
We know this.
The Instagram page.
Yeah, we know this. So, but the key thing is, how do we navigate or teach our youth how to navigate to where they don't find themselves on the opposite side of the situation where they are being directly positioned to where they're in a place to where now I'm getting a criminal charge for something that was just a silly mistake, something stupid. I was engaged in it because I thought it was fun. It wasn't that big of a deal. Things as such. So how do we teach them how to not become engaged in that type of situation? Because it's easier said than done. Because I always say, my son was not brought up the way that he chose, the path he chose to go. It is what it is. Now, did he experience some hardships in school? Most definitely. Did he experience some situations where teachers could have been more supportive after the death of his father? Most definitely. But being in survival mode myself, teaching other people's children, you just have to find, what's going to be most beneficial for you and your family. And it starts at home. Mine was taught at home. But when he got in high school, the hell with what home taught. I'm going to see what these people over in this, what is viewed to them as a better way of doing things, which is involvement in what appeals to look good to them. And unfortunately, it's happening more so for our children, younger and younger, that what they see on IG, social media, YouTube, is more glamorized than what the facts behind it is. Because I can attest to the fact that right now he can see real clear now, but you're seeing things clearly from the other side of the walls. Yep. But he mine.
And that's the thing, because that's what we're experiencing right now is, look at what's happening in especially the East Tampa area. The kids there's nobody that feeds into them and tells them that this is not the right way to live. The behavior they're exhibiting is out of control. And we got a fine line that we have to walk, whether or not we're going to be able to be able to say something or not, and who you're going to offend or not. But at the same time, where's our help? Where's the help in the community? Where's the help? Somebody has to talk to these.
So say that question again for the people in the back. Where's the what?
Where's the help in our community? Because remember, April and I want to understand something. April and I are females. Okay, that's what we are. We could preach from the sun up to the sun. I talk to boys all the time in my class. However, the impact is going to be greater when a male talks to them. When a male is speaking to them and helping them and telling them, explain to them, this is not the best lifestyle for you. You got young people going in the ground. Every time you turn around, turn the corner, it's a funeral. Every time you bang the corner, a funeral. We raise the money to put somebody in the ground. Why? What is so appealing about this lifestyle they want to live? That's a fake lifestyle, because everything that you see on and what is it? They're on IG and they're on Snapchat and all things. Those platforms, those things don't exist. They're not real. It's like they don't, and then the problem we're having in school is they don't have the marketable skills to allow them to live longer. To say, okay, well, you know what, this money is good today, but what about in 20 years when you got 2 kids? You need to do something else with your life. But I'm concerned about the fact that we all still quiet. Where's the leadership that's going to help us? Where's the people that's in the neighborhood? Like I spoke about it on Friday. Where's the people in the neighborhood? They should be in the neighborhoods right now, patrolling, walking around, talking to the young people, because I'm quite sure somebody gonna be popping off another gun tonight.
It's Thanksgiving week.
They might be out of town too. They're probably out of town.
So I had an opportunity to have some small dialogue with 3 different people as to your question, where's the help? And for some reason or another, the majority of the conversation became that, and this is my reflection of the conversations, all 3 of them, that the community have to step up. Now, I think that if the community, for those that truly know that this is a problem, that if they knew they could do it safely and without being possibly backlashed, behind it, and trusted the police to where if I told you something, you're not going to tell man that I told you and now my house shot up. And I just feel as though we're expecting more of the community than their capacity of being able to sustain that level of responsibility. They're
Right.
not equipped to do that, because if they did, it would not have gotten to this place. And that's just my opinion.
No.
Because I don't think nobody wakes up, just like we say all the time, nobody wakes up and say, I want my child to do the poorest they can in life. Nobody does that.
Right. Right.
You think people wake up and say, I want my neighborhood to be the worst, always on the news for being drive-by shooters and killings? Nobody wakes up and says that. But what we do know also is that there's facts behind that. There's a disconnect between the community trust in law enforcement in the
Correct.
East Tampa area. That goes without saying.
That is. And
And there's a certain area that they just only come after the fact. And that's what police are supposed to do. We get that. But there are also communities where they put in more effort in the preventative measures, the relationship building, what they call them houses in the community that the children can come in and do activity. Where y'all house at, Dee Dee? What a house for my nephews and nieces that live over in that area. Where can they go? Nowhere.
There's nowhere.
Because all the damn parks locked up.
Thank you. And that was the question I was posing too. I was like, well, why is it that we don't have any kind of relation? Like, and I asked before, and I'm gonna put it up, ask this question one more time. When you call the police around here, why do you need to have every single detail on your personal life before they send a car out? Why do they do that? Now you want to know why people don't want to call? But so we're gonna sit here and be under siege by a bunch of thugs shooting up everybody's house. Because you've not established it to where we can't call and just call and do like I said before. I called because I had a neighbor that was truly getting beat up. That lady, I thought the man was going to kill her. I really thought he was going to kill her. But when I'm calling, why are you asking for every detail about my life? Meanwhile, you can hear the glass breaking in the house. This man getting ready to kill this woman. Can you please send somebody else? And guess what they even told me? This is the third call. If this is the third call, why y'all ain't send nobody yet? What's bothered me? So is it that you're in this particular area? Or what you're saying is that you don't trust the calls that's coming in? You don't believe the calls are real?
Right. And that was also part of the conversation that was stated, that even when the police are called, we are treated like the criminals.
Right.
When it has nothing to do with me. I don't even want to be a witness. It was shared that this person said, I don't even want to be a witness in a car accident because I experienced them coming back to my house as if I was trying to corroborate a story for insurance fraud. What? Wait,
wow.
What?
Right.
We should not feel collectively in the East Tampa area, and I can speak it because I got a few houses on every block. That's home to me too. But probably 5 blocks away from me saying, yeah, I'm East Tampa, but it is what it is. We should not feel as though it may become a problem for me if I call the police.
Right.
But we're wondering why community members are not calling the police because they're in fear of, hell, look at George Floyd. Look at Breonna Taylor. Look at the situation in Palm River. Like, there's a lot to it and we know for individuals that in the end, there may have been some criminal activity. We don't follow all the details and cases, but nobody wants to be put in alignment with the possibility because I'm Black, I may be murdered if I call you. Or I may cause the murder because I'm calling for someone. Like we got to look at it differently. And then for our leaders that have shared on their platforms that they are coming together after Thanksgiving. See,
that's the problem.
That bothers me because I understand that you all have families, the holidays, and so on and so forth. But you signed up for this job. You signed up for it. You knew the commitment level that could possibly arise out of it. The level of urgency on this matter is beyond belief.
Yes.
Something should have been being done, said, and it may have been. But again, when the community is in the blind to it, we can only make assumptions that not much is being done. And when statements are being made to say, we're going to work on it out. My students that left Jennings, they were concerned about it on Friday.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about after the holidays.
After the
Because for
holidays,
some of them,
correct.
it may not be a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
survival.
Right. They all about, and the fact that, let me tell you. So for those that listen, because I know some people in law enforcement listen. The fact that usually during this time you see kids in the street, kids riding bikes up and down everywhere. Out here, church mouse quiet. Out here quiet because people afraid their children get shot. It's quiet. You don't see the kids all day long. You ain't seeing the kids. Why? Why is that? That's sad. But let me ride across over there to Channel Side and all the way over there by Gandy side and everything. You're gonna see kids all outside playing. They're comfortable, they safe, they okay.
With law enforcement engaging with them in a very
Right.
positive manner.
Correct. So we can't have but you know what concerns me? I'm gonna tell you like this, because remember, I when I first got here, I bought my first house in Ybor City. You know when it gonna shift? When you start seeing law enforcement roll up and down the streets because they're getting ready to clean it out, like that's like just what they did in Ybor City. You start to see the police respond real quick when they realized they were getting ready to gentrify those neighborhoods. Then all of a sudden, crime started going down big time in Ybor. And I remember from 1999 to 2006, the crime change, the change in crime was amazing. There was no more prostitutes up and down Nebraska. There was no more, drugs selling right there by the little coastal gas station across from Deeper Life. I'm gonna call it out because I saw it. All that started to get cleaned up. Why? Because now white people moving into the neighborhoods.
And also, we have individuals that are just so comfortable to where it's like in broad daylight, they just doing whatever.
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
Like you walk around with guns in broad daylight, just
we okay with it.
That's terrifying. And again, it's traumatizing to not only, the adults, but to their children as well. The children are paying attention, y'all. They really are. And if we just take a moment to hear what they have to say, you will know that some of these kids live in fear daily, from the time they go to sleep to the time they wake up.
Right.
So realistically, we shouldn't be saying, if I were in the role, and I'm not, I just don't understand the concept of we're talking about it. We're going to meet later. Their later is now.
Right.
Their later is now.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, understand something. There's some kids who are now emboldened by this behavior. So, for example, let me show you something. We have some kids, how kids are, they go through growth spurts. So we have some that were shorter than me last year, came back to school, they 6 feet tall. Now they feel like they can get in everybody's face. Just get in everybody's face because I'm tall, I'm big, I'm a bully now, okay? But you try to get in the AP face. That was the wrong move, sir. So I teach your children that don't have these level of people be their mentors. These people out here doing all this crime and violence are their heroes. That should not be how it is. But see, again, if we don't put into perspective what's most important is their future, then they won't have a future. It's as simple as that. So my question now is, with law enforcement, when are we going to start building relationships around in these neighborhoods, in these communities? When are we going to start building stuff for the kids? When are we going to let them have something to where they're available? I would love to, when summertime comes, even before summertime, when Christmas comes, we have something that's open 24/7 for them, to where they can be comfortable. They okay. They feel safe.
And they won't feel safe because there's no relationships there. The relationships that they have with law enforcement, more so than none, is negative.
Yeah, that it's bad.
Yeah, it is. And Alicia shared that Russell can't even go cut yards because of all the craziness. You're right. Don't have Russell out that door. You can't. You can't. Because if something go wrong, yeah, we asking what was you doing letting him out the door. That's what we gonna ask you immediately. And we're gonna be ready to fight. It's gonna take 2, 3 of us to take you down, but we're gonna be ready.
I'm gonna call somebody else too to help me.
Yes. You say I said 2, 3, 4 of us to take her down.
I can't fight. Y'all know that.
Right. But we definitely got to see a change in all of this. And I will also say that stop inviting the same individuals that are considered leaders for a community if you have not seen change for decades.
Correct.
Because obviously their message is falling upon deaf ears. They've lost the trust of their community because their words did not align with their actions. And that's facts.
Mm-hmm.
That's facts. Look at it.
Yep. Right. I mean, if you're seeing change, then okay. But if you see the same person, come and listen, they're comfortable. Investigate and see how comfortable they are. What they doing, where they living. Are they okay? But how you doing? That's the question you should ask yourself, because when people talking and they representing me, well, how are you representing me? Because I need to know how you doing. So you sleep quietly at night. Do you hear gunshots where you live? Or helicopters passing over your house on the regular? To the point now in the East Tampa area, it's in the daytime and nighttime. So you constantly
Right.
under pressure 24 hours a day. Constantly.
And many people are asking, where is the police? Where are
Right.
they? They said that they haven't seen them.
Right. That's another
Like
thing
even
too.
after the incident happened, like where are they? So
And you know what, you're right, because the first time I saw them was the last day of school. After all these shootings that took place, I started seeing them in the neighborhood on Friday, the last day of school. And I'm like, well, where y'all been? So the
so are
last
we
day
getting
of
ready
school,
to police the kids versus trying to handle the grown folks that got the
that's correct.
firearms?
That's correct. I saw them as the buses were rolling. You saw them rolling through the neighborhood. But why
Wow.
is it that's important versus players who running around in broad daylight with guns?
Shooting people. Let's add that.
Right,
Now you can
right,
run around in broad daylight with the guns, but the part about and you all shooting at people.
right. So
Because we have a right to carry state. We get that. But and shooting people. Let's add that to it.
yes, that's
That's
true.
the alarming part.
True. And so we don't know. But a couple of weeks ago we saw them as a whole bunch of them was sitting in the middle of the median on 40th Street. But what was going on? Just to sit there in the median? Okay, well, were you doing something? Try to build relationships with people. Because like I said before, people need to see them outside of them just being the police. Come into the
And
neighborhood and see and talk to people.
you know what my question is? Like for the convenience stores that are in the community, why do they allow all those people to gather and do all of these things that knowingly that would be considered trespassing? Once you get your gas, go. Once you buy your items, go. No loitering. Why are they
Loitering.
allowed to do that in these? Like, why the police not just sitting there? Why the police not sitting in those hot spots, knowing that a particular type of activity is happening on a day-to-day basis, that you can disrupt it to a place to be like, man, I ain't going up there because Popo up there.
That's an excellent question. And you know who that's a good
But could
question
we?
for?
Because then there's the theory of, are we okay with the black on black murders? Or
Right.
it just becomes a question.
Mm-hmm. Because it seems like that type of behavior encouraging, as opposed to saying, wait a minute, this is a place of business, let's just take care of our business and go. So now that's an excellent question to ask people, pose to people like the chief of police. Just throw it out there, because I know any given corner store in St. Pete, well, I'm telling you, it'd be off the chain 24/7. It'd be off the chain right down the street right here. It'd be like, wait a minute. But oh well. Anything else in the chat?
Nope.
No. How's your Thanksgiving? I'm just gonna tell everybody right now, please be safe for Thanksgiving. They talk about not traveling, large gatherings, things like that. That's all I can say. Believe me, I love a good plate from time to time myself. But if I got to stay home and eat this chicken that's in this freezer, I'm just do what I have to do, because I like to live. So and then just do the best that you can to protect yourself, and follow the same procedure. Things I see that people are just getting a little more lax with the procedures. But also, to another thing too, please leave the toilet paper, man. I mean, we ain't at that point right now yet. We ain't at that point, man. They say Sam's Club out of toilet paper, man. Dollar stores, Walmart. I'm ready with the toilet paper. I was disappointed the first time.
please put the toilet paper back. Just all you just need enough to get you through for at least for the break. But you don't have to take 16 packs of toilet paper. What you gonna do?
Right.
Let's just be thoughtful of others. Just like we say, put on the mask or just spread yourself out, but at least be thoughtful of others. Because remember, the first person that always comes to my mind when I'm thinking about gathering supplies are older people. A lot of times older people cannot get out the house to shop the way we can. And older people just, or they have to rely on somebody else. So always say to yourself, I want to grab 4 of these, but let me put back 2 because somebody older might need this, and
Right.
they might not get to the store the same time I get to the store. Or guess what? How about showing a little love to people in your neighborhood and asking the old person that live next to you, I'm gonna make a store run. Can I get something for you, Miss Mabel, Miss Annie Mae, Miss everybody? Because somebody, old people always got 1 or 2 names, how they. But just ask them. Just say, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need something? Because I know you might not leave the house for like 2 days. What you need. Just the more we think about other people, the better our society is going to be. So we're just going to leave you with that. April, anything else you wanted to add?
Nothing at all. We cannot stress enough. Check in on the kids and the elderly during this time that we're off for Thanksgiving, because it's different this year. We know COVID is realistic. And again, a lot of our youth are highly concerned about what's going on in their community. And imagine being that you're fearful for your safety, but you're also fearful of the person that's also supposed to be making you safe. Just think about that.
Right.
All right, guys, this is April Call with April's Beauty Bar,
It's the Diva D for Carved Out Divas,
and we're Diversity and Equity in Education, being hosted by.
the fantastic and phenomenal Bianca Gooseby of Teaching for the Culture.
Y'all
Have a
have a
lovely
great
week.
week. Be safe and happy Thanksgiving. Turkey.
Bye.